Welcome everyone to our first GoShareMO Connect webinar. My name is Becky Barnhill. We are so glad that you're here.
My name is Alex Van Delft, and again, on behalf of the GoShareMO committee, I would like to thank and welcome you for attending our first GoShareMO Connect webinar. Before I introduce our Spotlight School, if you've never heard of GoShareMO before, it is a group of schools across the state who came together several years ago to ask the question, how are you transforming learning using Apple technology? The steering committee includes schools from Pattonville, Liberty, Troy Buchanan, and Knox County, working together to plan a free symposium for teachers to come together to share, collaborate, and learn from one another. GoShareMO Connect is new this year with the goal of building districts to district connections throughout the school year by sharing resources, strategies, and tools that are making an impact.
Our Spotlight School today is Lincoln County R3 School District located in Troy, Missouri. Representing the district and one of our GoShareMO committee members is Jennifer Orton. Jennifer, can you share with us a little bit about yourself and your district?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me today. As you said, I'm Jennifer Orton from Lincoln County School District in Troy, Missouri. We're home to we serve about 7,100 students across the district. We have about 1,100 staff members or employees, and that's across 14 different campuses. We are pre-K through 12 iPads, with K through 12 being 1-to-1, and our 3rd through 12th graders take them home daily. And I'm not the only one that does what I do for my district. I'm the Instructional Technology Facilitator at Troy Buchanan High School and our 9th grade center. But also I'm part of a team of 5. So we have 2 ITFs at the elementary level, 1 at the middle school level, and then also our ITF coordinator is at central office. So kind of this whole thing was a brainchild of all 5 of us together, which I'll kind of explain later how we came to that. I also iPad is what we do and what we love at Lincoln County, and it's kind of part of everything that we do, and goes back to our goals of providing exemplary experiences and trusting relationships and superior instruction for our students. And you can kind of see that in everything that we're doing. We can celebrate the fact that one of our elementary schools is an Apple Distinguished School. And so they're doing awesome things. There's awesome things happening across the district. And I'm proud to say that I'm also the district Apple Distinguished Educator, class of 2023. So we've got a lot of really great things going on.
So Jennifer, you're here to share with us one best thing of Apple Teacher. Will you tell us about that?
Yeah, so Apple Teacher by far is not a new program, right? It's been out for a while and it's gone through some evolutions, and now it's even better. It's hosted on the web. You don't have to download. Back in the day, if you downloaded those books and did the badges that way, but all the learning is hosted online. And so district-wide, our ITF team hosts these Apple Teacher workshops and throughout the school year. And we really focus on using the Apple Learning Center and the tools that are in there to really build upon teacher skills, get them more comfortable with iPad and the tools that are available to them.
How did you decide this was a need for your district?
Yeah, so when Apple Teacher was first introduced in our district, everybody was like, yeah, do the badges. They're great. You'll learn so much. And kind of what we noticed was we were doing the badges, but those skills from the Learning Center weren't transferring back into the classrooms. And it was in some cases, right, of course, but we weren't seeing the impact that we wanted to see. And so we found out in asking, really, I took the quiz and I got my badge and I celebrated woohoo because I've been using an iPad for a while. When Apple Teacher came in, we weren't new to iPads, right? So the teachers kind of knew what they were doing in some cases. So really, it was kind of I got the badge and I earned it. So kind of as a team, we were noticing that those weren't transferring back into the classroom. And they were missing out on some of those key learning pieces that were in the Learning Center under each one of those badges. So we weren't seeing that skill transfer, but then also we have, as most districts do, have a large number of new teachers coming into a one-to-one district, and maybe they haven't touched an iPad before, or maybe they have used an iPad, but not for instructional purposes. So we really wanted to kind of hone in on our new teachers and really make them feel comfortable in our one-to-one environment.
So how did you go from there to where you are now in your district?
Well, that was actually the fun part. Our team is really awesome at brainstorming together and coming up with some really cool things. So our ITF team put our heads together and we started brainstorming ways that we could support teachers through this Apple Teacher process. So it became more than just earning the badges, that it was really a process for learning. And we really wanted them to see the power of iPad. We also wanted them to see the value and the resources of the Learning Center, and that there's a ton of stuff that lives in there that we're maybe not utilizing to its full capacity. And then also we know that like what's one thing all teachers need more of, right? It's time. And so we wanted to be cognizant of not taking too much of their time. So all that put together, we kind of came up with the idea of an Apple Teacher Workshop series or boot camp style. It's a 6-week course that each ITF hosts in their home buildings throughout the school year. So our elementary teachers did that in the fall. Our secondary buildings are going through that right now. And basically it's just 6 weeks, 1 day a week. They'll come in and it could be before school or after school. Actually at the high school, I do mine, we're on a block schedule. So I do mine during their plan time since we have 80-minute plans. I take the first 30 minutes of that for them to come and talk about Apple Teacher, and we work through some of those things together. So we keep it during contract time. I was finding that my participation was low because at the high school, I have a lot of coaches and I have a lot of tutoring going on and a lot of just after school clubs and activities and things like that. So I see an increase in participation now that that's during the plan time, during the day, and the teachers seem to appreciate that. I always kind of block out the whole time during their plan times. The first 30 minutes is instructional, like we're doing that together, but then the rest of the time, if they want to stay and talk, which quite often ends up happening, like, okay, but what does this look like in my classroom is what it typically turns into. Or if they need to go at the end of that 30 minutes and go back to their plan time, that works too. So it really allows them to personalize that time. And really during those workshops, we're focused on the application of the tools. So I don't really focus on the test at all. They can go do that. Typically they'll do that on their own time. We're really focused on, we get into the app, we play and explore so that they have a space that they're not afraid to try something new. I'm there to support them if they think that they've broken something, which happens, like, oh no, what happened? So they can feel comfortable in that environment. And then the big notice that I'm having this year is that those little 30-minute chunks of time are then leading into classroom application through coaching cycles. So I will follow up with teachers. They'll ask me to come into their classroom from them, or it generates conversation around what does this look like? Okay, Pages is cool, but what does that look like in my math classroom, or how does that look in my English classroom? Logistically, I send out this little document that you can see on the screen. I send that out at the beginning of the 6 weeks to kind of let them know this is what's coming. In the past, I've done a sign up where they sign up for all 6 weeks all at once. And what I found was people forgot, or just calendars get busy, right? And so since I changed it up this year and I'm doing during block scheduling, I actually email a sign up every week. And there's a really cool Google add-on that I use that one of my team members showed me it's called Cloud HQ. Because I found that the less clicks we have to make to get someplace, the better. So it's right within their email. It asks the question of like, here's the time and date of this workshop. Here's what we're covering. Which block are you going to come? And they just click on their tile, and that registers them, sends me an email that a person is registered. And then that way, if nobody registers for first block, then I don't block that time off on my calendar, so that then I'm free to go into classrooms and support teachers in that way. It's evolved over a couple of years. Yeah.
What has been one of the most effective tactics you've used?
I think that the key piece of the way that all of us manage our Apple Teacher workshops or boot camps is the application part of it, and that it's not really us standing up there saying, this is how you do this, and this is how you add a picture, and this is how it's more, they're actually building something for fun. So this Apple Teacher journal is actually in the Learning Center at education.apple.com. And so I started from this, and then I kind of added some things to make it my own. So for example, when I talk about the iPad badge, like we could just go through all those skills, but I want them to also practice those skills. So we do a little like miniature scavenger hunt. I do have in there a specific question from the test, only because that's the one that hangs them up the most because of what they're like, the app switcher and the dock and all those things, that question kind of hangs them up. But we go through what markup is, and we go through what screenshots are, and we go through how to put those elsewhere. So they're actually putting it into their Pages book. And then after that, there are pages for them to document what ideas do I have for my classroom? What brainstorms can we get going from there? For when we do the pages badge, this is a really pretty example. They're, like I said, they're 30 minutes, so they're super fast and super, sometimes I get something that looks like this. So when we talk pages, we actually build a little biography about ourselves. We put in some text, we talk about shapes, we obviously add pictures and do talk about the different tools that you have there. And then also the audio. So I think that the key thing then is when we go to Keynote the next week, so this is an example of Keynote, we build upon all of those skills. So we talked a little bit about shapes and how to change their color in pages. And now in Keynote, we're building upon that and we're breaking apart shapes and we're creating new shapes and we're grouping them together to create kind of a whole scene together. And so I try to base it in kind of something fun so that that they don't have to think really hard about what they're doing. They're kind of focused on the creative aspect of it. So in Keynote, they kind of just build a slide about themselves, but then we build upon the shapes, not only with the breaking apart, but also with the animating and the line draw. So those tools that are specific to Keynote. We don't cover everything that's in the Learning Center under each of those badges. It kind of just depends on like what I feel is most important, because each of the ITFs in our district kind of puts their own little spin on what they feel it would be most beneficial for the group of teachers. And sometimes it depends on the group of teachers that I have in the room, and what I cover with the group second block is not necessarily what I cover with the group after school. So that's Keynote. For numbers, we do a little vacation planning. So again, all the skills are building. So I like to show them that numbers doesn't look like numbers, right? And it's not as scary as it looks. And so we start just by building off of what we already know. We can draw in numbers and we can add pictures and we start brainstorming a vacation. We all like to plan our dream vacations, even if we're only dreaming, right? And then they switch to another tab in numbers and we actually talk about the spreadsheet part. What are the tools that make numbers unique compared to the other apps? And so we talk about the tables and formulas and charts and things like that. For iMovie, they take their vacation and they plan a little like movie spotlight about it. And so we just find pictures online and then for GarageBand, they create their own music. And that one's always last. That one makes the people the most nervous, but the way that we structure it and kind of build along with them, they seem to like it at the end.
So how are you building capacity with this Apple Teacher program?
I think we celebrate. So you can see our list of teachers that completed our workshops last year. We'll post another celebration like this come this spring. I think that the celebration of it, one, creates a little bit of like, wait, all these people have their Apple Teacher certification and I don't want to be the one that's left behind. I want to know these things too. I also think it helps spread word of mouth. Like, so if I see my teammates' name on that list, I might say like, oh, hey, what's Apple Teacher? How did you know that? And that has grown into every year we have more teachers, even teachers that have been in the district for years are now participating in Apple Teacher. At the high school, I have several of our paraprofessionals that have joined me. They want to know more about iPads. And even our technician at the high school has joined me in kind of knowing, he's like, I know the technical side, I can fix it, I can help kids, but like, what do you do with it? And so that's been a really cool experience this time around. And so I think just people talking about it is how we're building capacity. And they know now, like this is the second official year that we've done the official, maybe it's the third anyway. The second or third official year that we've done kind of the boot camp style. And so I think it's got a place in our district now. And I think that speaks to the consistency of it and the fact that our whole team does it and it's an across the district thing. Each of us kind of celebrates in our own way within our buildings too. So we put out on our social media district wide, this kind of big celebration of everyone, but then like within our own buildings, like I print my teachers' certificates off for them, like to track who is completed. We have them submit their form or their final certificate to a Google form. That way we can kind of keep track of who are our Apple teachers and kind of who we need to seek out for future opportunities. So I print off their certificates, and my administrators in the past have purchased frames for them. So it's like an official, your certificate is framed. I know in the past we've done t-shirts for them. Sometimes they do like an Apple teacher lunch. So really it's about the celebration of that it's an accomplishment. You committed 6 weeks and you learned some new things. And I always preface it all with, you're not gonna leave here an expert on any of the tools. It's really about exposure and letting them see what's possible in the tools.
What would you share with the district who wanted to start an Apple teacher program?
I think that I would say to just start. I know that's easier said than done sometimes because a lot of the buts come up, like but this, but what about the time? But what if nobody signs up? And I've been through all of that. I can promise you, I overthink every aspect of every single thing that I do. And I think that that is the benefit of having a team that's like, just do it. Let's just try it. Let's just see what happens. It's 30 minutes, right? And it could be what 30 minutes, start with the 30 minutes that works for you. Somebody's going to come. And I figure if you start with one person, that's okay. And it'll grow from there. And I think it's just important to create that space that they have time to explore and play in a non-threatening. I don't have 30 students sitting in front of me while I'm trying to figure this out. I have, like, I'm in a safe spot. Jennifer's going to support me, or my ITF is going to support me if I have questions, and we can really tailor it to what they need.
All right, well, thank you, Jennifer, for sharing with us about your Apple teacher program at Lincoln County R3. Now let's take some questions. If you have any questions about Apple teacher at Lincoln County R3, drop them in the chat.
While we're waiting for questions to come in, I have one more thing that I'd like to share, and that's really the power of the forum that has been added to the Learning Center. And during every Apple teacher session that I lead, I direct teachers back here, because really I can figure out the tool, right? It's like, then what do I do with it in my classroom? And that's where the forum comes in. It's if you've not been there, I highly encourage you to go to education.apple.com and visit. There are teachers from all over the world posting about how they're using Apple products. Like, it takes our concept of GoShareMO and how we share what we're doing with those tools, and just puts it on a global level of like, what's everybody else doing? What else is out there? And so, like, I found one about Apple Teacher. You can go and click on the little magnifying glass at the top of the screen and type in Apple Teacher, and some different things will pop up. But a big question that I get a lot is, how do you celebrate, or what are the incentives that you give to teachers for completing Apple Teacher? It is a free program, so like, how are you going to encourage people to do that? And so some different districts have shared their, or different teachers have shared their, of like different ways that their district celebrates Apple Teacher. And I also think, like, if you have questions about starting Apple Teacher, like, this is the perfect place to post it. And then you have teachers from all over the globe saying, this is how we're doing it in our district. And you can kind of pile all those ideas together to make it your own.
We got a question. It says, I'm curious what the panel thinks about juggling the Apple teacher experience, knowing that there's iPad certification and MacBook certification. This can be a lot for someone just stepping into Apple tools.
Yeah. Personally, I start with iPad, because that's what our students have. And that's how I present that to teachers. I actually right now have teachers at the high school asking me to do some similar sessions with the MacBook badges and kind of work through that with them. But I always say that I start with what the students have, because that's ultimately why we have the devices, right? So I think that that's an easy place to focus in and just focus on, how am I applying that to student learning?
Another question, would this be some of the first steps in becoming an Apple certified school?
So, like, an Apple Distinguished School, right? I mean, I'd say, like, our Apple Distinguished School in our district and Apple Distinguished School that I was at before, like, that is part of the process, is Apple teachers. I don't know that it's an official.
You have to have 75% of your staff.
75% of the staff has to be Apple teachers. So, I mean, I think it's ensuring that the skills are there. And then I think it goes even further than that. Then it's more about the application of those skills. As part of the GoShareMO committee, we would like to invite you. We mentioned our free symposium at the beginning of the year, so we would like to invite you to our symposium on June 20th. We can drop the link to our website in the chat, and you can go there and register. We're also still looking for presenters, so if you're doing something awesome in your district, definitely sign up to present. Liberty is going to be our hosting district this year, and we're really excited to learn and share and just grow together on that day.
I want to thank Jennifer for presenting today.
Thank you.
I hope everyone else did. We will have our next GoShareMO Connect next month, so look forward to more information for that.
And it's Pattonville hosting about personalized learning. Yeah, thank you.